Okay, things are starting to look real creepy in Florida. We're seeing eerie videos of black SUVs driving around neighborhoods with megaphones urging people to leave immediately. We're seeing traffic cam footage of the roads out of Tampa Bay just stacked while the way in almost empty.
I'm back, Fittie, and today we're going to be taking a look at these videos. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes this video. Make sure to watch to the end because this video gets crazy. If you guys want to buy my YouTube setup, click the shop icon. If you guys like the chain, also check the link down in the description.
Here are some disturbing animal facts that are going to make you look at the animal kingdom differently. Parents and teachers definitely wouldn't want me telling you any of these. So, listen the feck up. Now, flatworms definitely look like the kind of creature that God was bored on the day he made them. However, there is some fecked up shit going on in the flatworm species. For starters, all flatworms are actually born male. I've got to be very careful in how I phrase this next part, otherwise Papa TikTok will be very mad at me. All flatworms, as they are born male, will fight with their lightsabers, in which the loser of the duel gets injected and their lightsaber falls off, making them a female, and that's how flatworm females are made. Next up, sperm whales are very majestic creatures. No, they're fecking not, and let me tell you why. They can actually vibrate you to the next world. They are so physically massive that their clicks are so loud that they can vibrate you or cause an air bubble in your brain, making you meet your maker very quickly. Geese, these blue-eyed devils, are so strong that they can break your shins with their beaks. Dolphins are little shits. You know how you like going down to the lake and skipping some stones? Well, this complete menace enjoys that too. However, instead of using stones, they use feckin' stingrays. That's right, when they're bored, they swim down, catch them, bring them to the surface, and skip them along like they're a rock. I'm holding back the laughter, but it's still wrong. Next up, we've got baby sloths. If a baby sloth falls off its mother's back and down onto the forest floor, sadly, more often than not, the mother can't spare the energy to go down and get it, which, as you can imagine, doesn't necessarily end well for a baby sloth. And finally, we have pigeons. Now, I dislike these flying dodos as much as I dislike seagulls. However, I'm not kidding, they are capable mathematicians. I'll be honest, probably better than myself, I fucking hated maths. Just like non-human primates, they are capable of learning abstract mathematical concepts. However, they're complete menaces to their own society as shown in this video. My point proven, they literally just threw one of their own into the next world. Elon!
Terrifying websites you should never visit. Part 2. Crime scene photos. Trigger warning, this website is extremely graphic and not for the faint of heart. It shows real live crime scene photos and then explains them in depth. The website is a bit much and not for everyone, so I would definitely take that with a grain of salt. Comment down below and tag a friend if I should do a part 3.
Disturbing brain facts. 1. The brain will protect itself even if it means misery to you or death. If you're stuck in the middle of a cold place, your brain will fall asleep to conserve energy and never wake up again. Inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house, your brain will make you stop breathing and pass out. 2. Your brain doesn't necessarily stop all activity the moment you are pronounced clinically dead. Up to 30 minutes of brain activity has been recorded after death. 3. Comment brain and I will DM you a brain hack you definitely have never heard about. 4. When you're falling asleep at night and your body jerks, this is called hypnic jerks. This happens because your brain thinks you're dying if your body falls asleep faster than your brain. 5. 90% of all illness and disease is stress-related. 6. Certain brain injuries or conditions can lead to spontaneous and uncontrollable bursts of aggressive or violent behavior, even in individuals who were previously non-violent. 7. Your eyeballs are an extension of your brain and are directly connected to it.
Scariest things found underwater. From Atlantic Ocean. Stone People. Chuk Lagoon. WW to Tank. From Little Traverse Bay. Jesus Statue. From Lake Lanier. Underwater ghost town to 150 plus towns. From Lake Neuchâtel. Shark statue. From Antarctica. Ningen. From Minnesota Lake. Jason Voorhees statue.
This is the case of the girl that vanished into thin air. Her name is Yuki Onishi. On April 29th of 2005, 5-year-old Yuki was out celebrating Greenery Day with her mother. It's a national holiday in Japan, and what they do is they go out, they celebrate nature, and they collect bamboo shoots. So Yuki, her mom, and 60 other people were out doing this. Yuki was so excited that she found her first bamboo shoot, she showed her mother, and then she ran off to find more. That's when she disappeared and was never seen from again. When they realized that she was nowhere to be found, they actually brought in search dogs and the police. This is where it gets really strange. The dogs followed her scent to the middle of the forest and then just stopped. The scent stopped in the middle of the forest as if she had just disappeared into thin air from that spot. To this day, she has never been found and no one knows what happened. If you want to hear some theories, come back for part 2.
Deadliest disasters in human history, part 1. In 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart 73 seconds into its flight, killing all 7 crew members aboard. The astronauts actually lived through the initial explosion and survived for nearly 3 minutes before they died on impact with the water. In 1184, a group of nobles gathered in a room in the Church of St. Peter above the latrine pit of the monks. All of a sudden, the floor collapsed due to their combined weight, causing 60 nobles to fall to their death into a pool of poop and sewage. In 1893, gifts were being passed out at a magic show in Victoria Hall. Over 1,000 kids tried to force themselves down a narrow staircase that led to a single door that opened inward. Only one child at a time could pass through, causing 183 children to be crushed to death.
Morbid Facts, Part 409. In November of '99, the girlfriend of Panthers wide receiver Ray Caruth was shot 4 times and later died in the hospital. It was soon determined that her NFL boyfriend had hired a hitman to kill her after she reportedly refused to abort their baby. The baby ended up surviving, and Caruth went to prison for 19 years before being released in 2018. During a tense pro basketball game in 1992, Serbian player Boban Jankovic was frustrated with a foul call and slammed his head into a padded concrete post. He immediately dropped to the floor and was never able to walk again after badly damaging his spinal cord. Earlier this year, 44-year-old Pennsylvania man John Matthew Chapman was sentenced to life in prison after driving his girlfriend across the country and luring her into a Nevada desert for a bondage photo shoot. He then bound her to a signpost with zip ties, taped her mouth and nose shut, and watched as she died.
I feel like bro thought he was playing football, because when you're playing football, you can do that and be good because you have a helmet on, but like, bare head, you're bugging.
Here's what would happen if every girl on Earth disappeared. So about 4 billion girls would be wiped out and the boys would be left to fend for themselves. And more than 70% of people in the medical field are actually females. So people would be dying left and right. Also, the entire school system would collapse. This is because most college students and professors are actually female. On top of that, 30 countries would lose their leaders and the world would fall into chaos. And then the boys would be left alone to go extinct.
Things humans weren't meant to see.
Some Facts You Didn't Know, Part 252. This is the sandbox tree, a tree doing everything in its power to kill you. If its deadly appearance isn't enough to keep you away, maybe learning that its small fruits, which look like little pumpkins, actually become time bombs when they fully mature. With a loud bang, they will fling their hardened seeds up to 150 miles per hour and over 60 feet. To further add to that, the fruits are also poisonous and the sap can cause blindness and a painful red rash. This is a nose tomb located in Kyoto, Japan, which is filled with Korean noses. Japanese samurai would collect trophies from those they killed during wartime. Now, traditionally, it was the entire enemy's head, but due to how cumbersome it would be to take that many severed heads, they went with noses instead. The noses would be pickled and sent back to Japan. This tomb contains an estimated 38,000 noses. In July of 2018, a tofu worker in Indonesia named Sugito was out collecting grass and vegetables for his cattle when he accidentally wandered into a licensed crocodile sanctuary. It wasn't long until he was attacked and guards did hear his screams, but they couldn't save him. The next day, a mob of over 600 angry villagers stormed the sanctuary to take revenge. First destroying the office, then going after the reptiles. In total, they killed 292 crocodiles. After each crocodile was dead, it would be dragged and placed into a giant bloody pile, and then they would take selfies in front of it.
Morbid Facts, Part 408. American actor and model John Eric Hexum was once seen as the next big thing in Hollywood due to his charming looks, charisma, and radio voice. But in 1984, he died on the set of the TV show Cover Up after accidentally discharging a blank cartridge into his skull. Hexum had apparently been playing Russian roulette with a prop gun during a break in filming, and the muzzle blast caused enough blunt force trauma to fracture a piece of his skull that propelled into his brain. Serial killer Israel Keyes went the extra mile to ensure that he would never be detected. He had no preferred victim type and never killed in the same area twice. For one murder, he flew to Chicago and drove 1,000 miles all the way to Vermont in a rental car, then used a murder kit he'd hidden there 2 years prior. When shopping on his murder trips, he always kept his phone turned off and only ever paid in cash. But Keyes was caught in 2012 after using a victim's credit card when he didn't have any cash on hand.
That's crazy, because he was playing it smart and then he just messed up once and it's over. Just like that.
Jesus' statue started leaking water and everybody thought it was a miracle until they realized it wasn't. In 2012, when water started dripping down this Jesus Christ statue in an Indian church, everybody thought it was a miracle. Hundreds of people would gather there every single day just to get a drink of this water. They thought it would cure diseases and even send them to heaven. But this guy right here wasn't buying it. His name is Sanal and he wanted to see it for himself. So he traveled across the world to see this statue and began his investigation. He searched the building next door where he found drain pipes that had bursted and they were leaking everywhere. It turns out the water dripping down from the statue was actually sewage water. So the water people were collecting and drinking was literally poop. Sanal shared this information with everyone, but nobody wanted to hear it. Instead, he received threats and the church even sentenced him to prison.
It was like when that one dude was telling them that the sun is the center of the solar system and not the earth, and then everyone's like, dude, obviously the earth is the sun, and then they were like, no, it's the sun, and then he got like murdered.
Let's talk about the Arcadia tapes. In 2001, in Arcadia County, Ohio, a teen named Calvin Dim went missing on his way home from school. This was really unusual at the time because Calvin was actually a pretty well-accomplished athlete and he was very tall for his age, so whoever did overtake him and abduct him was either a larger person or a group of people. So for like weeks, this investigation goes cold until a VHS tape is mysteriously found at the doorstep of his parents' house. The VHS was compiled of various different clips of unknown people in different masks who were just staring into the camera. But there is one clip in this video that had the words Cal, short for Calvin, edited into the VHS. This was pretty definitive evidence for the police that whoever made this video either knew where Calvin was or they had him in their possession. Police would end up finding this frame which showed a person in a black tarp, presumably with their wrists and ankles tied. Investigators believe this could be Calvin, and what's even eerier is they think this was shot in the woods behind his house.
This is the creepy story about the school trip. An entire class of 6th graders went on a school trip. Everyone was taking pictures with phones and cameras. When they returned back to school, everyone was looking through the photos when the one girl said, "Oh my god, what is that?" Everybody ran over to look at it. In the picture, one of the boys in the class was sitting on the bus. Nothing seemed strange about the photo until you looked very closely at his reflection in the window. His face in the reflection looked like it was yellow and bulging, bubbling and mutating, and there appeared to be a strange floating white thing beside him. When everyone turned the picture upside down, they realized it was a skull and it was horrific. When the boy saw the photo of himself, he burst into tears and immediately had a panic attack. The teacher had to send the boy to the nurse, and the principal banned everybody from ever speaking about the strange photo again. 7 days later, the boy in the photo died from a brain tumor.
Here's 5 things you won't believe you can buy off the dark web. The last one could have saved me a ton of money. Number 1 is fake passports for any country in the world. Now this is very dangerous because a lot of terrorists use this. Number 2 is a hitman. You can hire a contract killer to get the job done for you for approximately $5,000. Number 3 is credit card numbers. And since you can never know that an individual credit card has been canceled, these identity thieves sell them in batches of 100. Number 4 is a lifetime Netflix account for just $1. This account is paid for using stolen credit cards. Finally, at number 5, a fake college degree from the college of your choice.
This concern is like, okay, you got a fake passport. How do you know it's gonna work? Like, that's such a risk. Imagine going to passport like, here, take my shit, and they're just like, sir, this is fake, and then you just get arrested on the spot. Would you even get arrested?
Weirdest things humans were never meant to see. If you didn't know, this is what a snail drinking water looks like. It's actually super rare, and the fact we were able to capture it on camera is incredible. But what's more incredible is this octopus dreaming. And the reason why it's changing colors so much is because it's dreaming about different environments. So it's trying to blend in all of them.
Now, I love dinosaurs as much as the next guy, but I think it's pretty safe to say there ain't no way in fuck I'm taking part in this shit. Because here are some of the scariest extinct animals you'll be glad took the L. First up, we got the Therizinosaurus. Hey, literal Freddy Krueger of a dinosaur. If you don't believe me, what the fuck is that? They had 3 feet long claws. Now, scientists say that they're most likely herbivores. But I'm sorry, evolution, what the fuck? Why have you given a herbivore 3 foot long claws to tear down the little plants? Meanwhile, you've given the T-Rex, the daddy meat-eating carnivore, little fucking Tootsie Rolls for arms. Me no comprende. Next up, we got the Meganeura. Now, I'm really not a fan of dragonflies nowadays. So a flying cocky fucker with a wingspan of 75 centimeters that resembles a dragonfly can fuck off. And finally, we got sea scorpions. Now, they're on the list purely for their size. I mean, what? They had a length of 8 feet and 3 inches. And when their claws were actually fully extended, that could add another 3 feet to their length. You know, just an 11.5-foot scorpion. We chillin'. Now, I don't mind scorpions. If this was a spider, nah!
I'd personally argue that scorpions are worse than spiders.
This is Perfection, one of the worst videos on the dark web you should never go looking for, explained. Okay, so Perfection is a dark web video nobody should go looking for or even want to see. The video shows a woman peeling her nose and entire face off with a potato peeler, with literally zero expression or pain on her face throughout the entire time doing it. After she completely peeled off her face and nose, her jaw was just hanging down because there was no support from the cheeks anymore. There is a story about 3 friends who watched the entire Perfection video and 2 of them ended up dying. Many reports say that while watching the Perfection video, it somehow hypnotizes you and you end up doing what the girl did to herself and dying. But luckily for all of us, this video is literally impossible to find. It's extremely hard to find on the dark web, which means it's virtually impossible to find it on the normal web. This is honestly a video I would even stay curious on, because it comes from the dark web for starters, and it's extremely and utterly awful. Nobody knows who the girl is or why she's doing this to herself, and nobody knows who even made it. But the stories surrounding the video saying people get hypnotized and end up peeling their own face off and dying make it 100 times more scary, and should make you not want to watch it or even look for it. Perfection is regarded as one of the most unsettling and disturbing videos on the internet, and the mysterious origin and story of it make it truly an internet mystery.
Him saying it hypnotizes you and make you want to do it remind me of Smile. Like, you guys ever watch Smile? Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, people see people smiling and then they also end up doing the same thing. That's what that reminded me of.
Terrifying facts you never knew. If your immune system ever found out that you have eyeballs, you would go blind. Which means right now your immune system has no clue that you can see. Because if it did, they would attack your eyeballs until you could no longer ever see. This is because your eyeballs have a protein in them called crystalline that doesn't exist anywhere else in your body. So if your immune system found out and checked them out, it would be like, something's wrong here. Studies show that most serial killers are born in November. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my anxiety might be up there too. There's a disease called fatal familial insomnia, where people suddenly one day lose their ability to fall asleep, which leads them to slowly go insane. They can't distinguish dreams from reality anymore and go into some type of paranoia. It becomes so severe that they eventually die. Those that make it to the final stage and don't die usually end up in a vegetated state, no longer conscious. And it can happen to any one of you. About 3,000 people go missing every year in the United States. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977. This was in France. And also that was the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. You are always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. In 2011, Anatoly Yakovlevich was arrested for having 12 dolls in his apartment. Only problem is, they weren't normal dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that had been dug up and dressed to be put on display. In 2012, a Burger King employee anonymously posted this to 4chan. It said, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." It only took 20 minutes for people to track down the branch that he worked at, and he was fired. You really never know what people are doing to your food. H.H. Holmes was a serial killer who built a torture hotel in the 19th century. He had secret rooms with gas chambers, trap doors, and stairs that led to nowhere. He loved to play with his victims' minds. It was almost like a real-life Saw movie. There's a bridge in Scotland called the Overtoun Bridge, and for some reason, dogs keep jumping off of it at the same spot. Yeah, they just jump to their deaths. Experts can't figure out why either. Some people speculate it's a magnetic field or maybe a frequency that only they can hear, but others believe it's something supernatural. But whatever is making dogs jump off that bridge to their deaths is still to this day unexplained. Joe Matheny was an infamous serial killer who not only cooked his victims to eat for himself, but also made them into burgers using their remains. He then sold them to unsuspecting customers from a roadside food stand. We really never know what we eat. I'm cooking all my food myself. That's why I don't eat over people's house. In 2021, a new homeowner was shocked to find a boarded up wall. When he ripped the boards off the wall, he discovered a hole. In that hole was a doll clutching a note. The note saying that she killed a family who lived there in the 1960s. Be honest, would you move out? In 1978, there was a pilot named Frederick Valentin. Him and his plane disappeared in Australia. His last communication was, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering above me again." It is hovering and it is not an aircraft. This is a mugshot of William West and William West. Oh, and they're not related at all, but they were both sent to Leavenworth Prison at the exact same time in 1903. And after some confusion, the staff finally figured out they were two different people who had the exact same name and looked identical. This was said to be one of the main reasons why we now use fingerprints to identify somebody. There's biotech being developed as we speak that can make prisoners feel they are serving an 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. That's horrifying. Imagine thinking you spent 1,000 years somewhere, and then when you wake up and snap out of it, you realize that it was only a couple hours. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyways, like this video if you want a part 2.
I remember the video that I made the other day called The Drugs You Never Heard Of. You guys can check it out right here. That really shows you how time is pure perspective, because how can you make someone make 8 hours feel like 1,000 years? That's insane, and that's literally torture.
Imagine your own mother selling you to a random man for $15,000 and then you end up dead 6 weeks later. Well, that's what happened to this young girl. Rukia Hadari was only 21 years old when her throat was by her new husband after she refused to clean and cook for him. Her mother ended up going to prison for a short amount of time because she was the one that forced them to get married, but she still says that she did nothing wrong, and if she knew that her husband was going to kill her, then she would have never forced the marriage. And this wasn't the first time that Rukia was forced into marriage. When she was 15, she was also married off to a man and they got a divorce 2 years later. What's so sad is that this young woman just wanted to live a normal life. She wanted to go to school, get her degree, and become a nurse, but her mother had other plans. If you guys want to learn all the details about the story, make sure to head over to my YouTube channel. I uploaded the full story.
For any parent watching this, yo, you better not be forcing your kid to do anything. Let them live and learn, okay? I would personally not like that. I don't think you would like being forced into do things you don't want to do.
See, you done effed around too close to the sun, my boy. Here are some signs an antler warrior is about to put you under, and may God help you if you ever need any of this. This right here is where you been should have hit the double dash. If a moose shows you the whites of his eyes, actually, if you could see the whites of his eyes, you're entirely too close to death. But yeah, anytime a moose shows you the whites of his eyes, he's telling you to fall back, or the next white you finna see is a cul-de-sac in the clouds. It's a lot like the whale eye things dogs do before they snap. Either way, you see this, you adjust accordingly. It's probably common knowledge, but if a moose dips his head and shows you his antlers, he's basically telling you, yo, I got it on me, and you better have it in you if you don't get fo. I'm not saying pause, because pausing in this situation could actually get you smoked twice like 2 packs. Now that's a no diddy. If a moose is ever eating and suddenly stops and stares in your direction, yeah, you got his attention. Please give it back. Also, you don't want to be like this guy and get loud with a moose, especially a bull. This ain't a bear, remember. With predators, you gotta convince them you're worth the effort, but with a grass-fueled war machine, getting loud is giving them a reason to kick your knees in. And I was gonna say don't press a mother moose in her cap, but honestly, the earth is crowded. If you want to naturally select yourself as tribute to Darwin, that's a way to do it. Just know mama moose might play hopscotch on your spine. If a moose stares at you and urinates, you're in a lot of trouble. No, seriously, you're gonna be a hashtag. If a moose smacks his lips at you, if a moose throws his head back like a horse, if a moose breathes. Matter of fact, if a moose mooses, don't question, don't ask it, leave on your feet or leave in a casket. Nah, but for real, if the ears are pinned back, that's like the universal red flag of finding out. Oh, and last thing, if a moose stares at you and there's a body of water between y'all and you think you're safe, survey says the Messiah laughs at your assumptions, the more you know.
Whatever you see first reveals who you are. Up first is this picture. If you saw the trees and the reflection of them in the pond, it means you constantly overthink your life and stress about your future. But you're also very motivated and want to be successful. But if you saw the woman walking out of the pond first, it means that you sometimes feel lonely and trapped in your own life. But you're also a very thoughtful person and tend to put people above yourself. Next up is this picture. If you saw the woman releasing the balloons, this means you know a lot of people, but only a couple are considered friends. This makes you feel extremely lonely and never want to do anything. But if you saw the blue sky in the clouds first, it means that sky blue is one of your favorite colors. And no matter how hard life gets, you always find a way to come out on top.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. Which one did you guys see first? Put it down in the comments.
This is the scary story about the bath. Elizabeth was sitting at her desk in her room. She was finishing off her homework when she suddenly got a text off a number she didn't recognize. The text message said, "Take a bath and go to bed, it's a school night, Mom." Elizabeth thought her mom's phone died and used someone else's phone to text her. She already planned on taking a bath, so she got undressed and grabbed her towel and walked into the bathroom. But then she stopped. She was surprised that the bath was already filled. "I guess my mom filled it in advance," she said. She then shrugged her shoulders and got in. When she got in the bathtub, she became aware of a burning sensation all over her body, which progressively got worse and worse the longer she stayed in the bath, to the point where she started crying. Then she got out. Like and follow for part 2.
Stuff like that always makes me think, like, if humans were back when dinosaurs were around, would we also be huge? You know what I'm saying?
Horror movie villains based on real people.
Terrifying signs that you won't believe actually exist. Part 3. Sharks sighted today. Enter water at own risk. Dangerous sinkhole, unstable ground. If you are reading this, you are too close. Leave this area immediately. Stop. Prevent your death. Go no further. There's nothing in this cave worth dying for. Do not go beyond this point. Warning. If warning siren sounds, immediately leave area. Go uphill 200 steps. Danger. People have been seriously hurt or killed in this area. Extreme caution should be observed at all times. Watch for snakes. They're watching you. Dismount now. Do not ride over the next rock. 200-foot cliff. Riders have died here. Riders just like you.
I think if I seen any of those signs, I'm not even stopping to read. I'm just leaving immediately.
However bad you thought the damage was from Hurricane Helene, it's probably worse. At least 64 people have tragically passed away, thousands have been left homeless, about 3.5 million have been left without power, with people in Georgia only expected to get it back on the 5th of October. Oh, and insurance companies are cooked, because the Financial Times report that property damage alone is up to 26 billion. Eerie end-of-days looking footage shows boats lining the streets while cars line the beaches. Bridges have collapsed, docks were destroyed, dams were at their breaking point, there were massive landslides, Stone Cold Steve Austin couldn't even drink his beer. And in Asheville, North Carolina, experts called it a 1 in 1,000 year event. Their French Broad River hasn't been this full since 1916, over 100 years ago. Oh, and it's not just the water you have to worry about, because the batteries in electric vehicles being submerged in salt water are releasing hydrogen gas and heat, which is resulting in fires. Helene is now turned into a post-tropical cyclone and is expected to continue to cause intense flooding through to Sunday.
I actually have a couple of friends in Florida, and I heard that they're about to get hit with a Category 5 hurricane. You know how bad that is? That can get up to, like, I think 160 to 200 mile per hour winds, dude. That's horrible. That's literally like saying, like, if your house is made of, I don't know what, like paper, I guess. If your house is made of, like, not bricks, yeah, it's gonna get shredded. That's pretty much what that means. If you're in Florida right now, I'm praying for you, bro.
This is why you shouldn't explore abandoned places. An urban exploration YouTube channel by the name Urbix Hill went to explore the 13-year-old abandoned Robert Fulton School in Cleveland, Ohio. Immediately as he enters the decaying school, he doesn't notice, but what looks like a person can be seen watching him from the end of the hallway. But knowing someone could be stalking him, he continues exploring. But it wasn't until Urbix Hill goes up to the 3rd floor and finds a 40-down room that he will come face to face with this stalker.
I think somebody's in there. What the fuck? Somebody's been living in here.
Don't ever try this. To summon a guardian angel who will grant your deepest wishes, first draw this symbol on your hand. Now draw a line and a loop around your wrist like handcuffs. Now make your hand into a fist and dip it in a bowl of water. Now take out your hand and place it over your eyes. Now move your hand and open your eyes, and your guardian angel will appear before you to grant you any wish. But be careful, as some can't handle what they see when they open their eyes. Are you brave enough to try this? Then heart this video and follow my account.
Nah, for me it was the end. It was the end of the video. She was like, yeah, you know, you might see an angel, but be careful. And she's like, are you brave enough to try this? I'm like, bro, I'm not liking and following you, shorty. I'm sorry.
This teenager his mom over a bad grade. This is 15-year-old Gregory Ramos. And on November 2nd, 2018, Gregory Ramos got into a fight with his mother, Gail Clevenger. The fight started over his bad school grades, which resulted in him shooting his own mother to death. Gregory then proceeded to call 2 of his friends to help him bury her body and stage a robbery at his house. Gregory buried her body under a church fire pit and was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Now, what I'm about to show you is Gregory explaining exactly how he committed the murder, and it's absolutely disturbing because keep in mind, this was his own mother.
It's whatever. Alright, I'll tell you what happened. Alright, so I got home, I got in an argument with my mom, she slapped me across the face, she began to hit me, she started beating me, I didn't like it, so I strangled her to death. Alright? I put her in a wheelbarrow, I put her in my car, I took the car, I had a mental breakdown where I almost committed times. I drove around Daytona. I dropped the wheelbarrow in some random ass location. Then I drove back to the church. I began to dig a hole. I dig a hole right under the fucking fire pit. I dug a pretty deep hole. Pretty deep. You know, deep enough to put a bit of body in. Alright? All this time my mom's decomposing body, I dragged it from my car to the fire pit. In which case I tried to cut the wedding ring off her finger because I wanted to pawn it, but I couldn't because I didn't have a knife strong enough to cut bones. Oh well, whatever. Anyways, so I dug that hole, threw her body in there, filled it back in, made it look all nice and natural, dumped my clothes. And then I went home.
The way how he's just casually telling the story like he doesn't care is crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure he's just completely disassociated from that. He probably isn't even like really like even know what's going on, if I'm being honest. But in my head, bro, like he really dragged it for doing that to his own mom. And in my head also, it's like the mom, why are you tripping over a bad grade like that? Like he got a bad grade, understandable, but like that's not how you should handle it. I don't think she should have hit him, and I don't think he should have killed her. So it's just a situation where it's just like,
What's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 21.
Scientists claim that the research they have done shows that 1% of society meets the criteria to be a psychopath. That means 1 in every 100 people you meet will be a psychopath. It was said a long time ago that boiled toads would help cure rheumatism, which is arthritis, and that feeding rotted mice to children would help with their bedwetting problems. Have I wet my bed before? Moving on. Oh yeah, this is just a fact to remind you that there is a brain-eating amoeba out there that if you get water through your nose or in your ears, that it could possibly, you know, eat your brain. At an abandoned wildlife park in Australia, there is a fully preserved shark found still in the tank filled with murky waters. Oh my gosh. Yo, what's up? These are scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know, part 24. This one's pretty strange, but there is a very rare disease known as dactylolysis spontanea, where a person's toe randomly falls off for no apparent reasons. In fact, doctors can't even explain why this happens. The picture above shows a suit known as a Siberian bear hunting suit, in which people or hunters can go looking for bears, and if the bear tries to attack or claw them, they will be protected by the spikes on their suit, and it will stab the bear. The picture above shows the head of a decapitated nun known as Maria Rosenthal, who was the first ever nun to be possessed. In fact, they kept his head pretty well preserved. There was actually a life-size Jason Voorhees statue found in the bottom of Minnesota Lake, and knowing the year 2020 like we do, I wouldn't be surprised if this statue came to life.
She disappeared while waiting for an ice cream truck. This is 11-year-old Mikkel Biggs, and she was from Mesa, Arizona. She was described as very bright and considered a gifted student. Mikkel was well educated on the concept of stranger danger and wasn't someone to be easily tricked. On January 2nd of 1999, around 5:30 p.m., Mikkel thought she heard an ice cream truck nearby, so she begged her mom for some money. Mikkel and her younger sister Kimber ran outside holding their 2 quarters. Kimber brought the family dog with them, and Mikkel had jumped onto Kimber's brand new pink and purple bicycle. As they made their way to the corner of the street, they were joined by other children from the neighborhood who also thought they heard the music from the ice cream truck. After a few minutes, some of the kids started to get restless since there was no sign of the ice cream truck. Around 5:50 p.m., Kimber told Mikkel she didn't want to wait any longer. It was getting dark and the temperature was now 60 degrees. Mikkel was determined to get that popsicle, so while her sister went back to the home, she stayed out there. Their mother noticed that Kimber came by herself, so she demanded that she went out there to go get her sister. Kimber grabbed her jacket, and as she was walking towards the corner that they were at, she was gone for maybe 90 seconds. Mikkel was gone. Kimber noticed that her brand new bike was on the ground with the wheels still spinning, so it made it seem that Mikkel had been riding it and just jumped off. She also noticed that Mikkel's 2 quarters were on the ground near the bike. At this point, Kimber was frightened, so she ran back home and told her mom that she could not find Mikkel. Around 6:15, their mother called 911 and reported Mikkel as missing. Police responded almost immediately, and from the start, they realized that they were most likely dealing with an abduction. It appeared that Mikkel was riding her bike back home when she was snatched off of it. Police and volunteers conducted a search around the area until 2 a.m. Unfortunately, they were only able to track her scent around the bicycle, so they came up with the idea that most likely she was abducted in a vehicle. Investigators contacted every ice cream truck in the area to see if they were in Mikkel's neighborhood, and none of them were. Police continued to search the area. They searched garbage cans, dumpsters, sheds, and they could not find Mikkel anywhere. Mikkel's case is still considered active and unsolved. Her parents are still hoping to learn what had happened to her so they can bring her home and give her a proper burial.
Pilot's last words before crash. Flight 302-2019. Pitch up, pitch up. Flight 507-207. Go up. Flight 409-2010. We're finished. God have mercy on us. Flight 447-209. But what's happening? Flight 2605-1979. Oh Jesus Christ, get it up, Charlie. Flight 177-11987. I'm the problem.
Those last two were crazy. This dude said, "Get it up, Charlie." Hey, yo. Pause. And then the second one was, I'm the problem. Damn, imagine that being your last words.
Here are my most anticipated horror movies releasing in October. Up first is Terrifier 3, releasing October 11th. It was shown last week at Fantastic Fest, and everybody that I know that has seen the movie said it was absolutely insane. And this movie takes Art the Clown from a normal slasher all the way up to that top peak list of horror movie icons. I was also told that the first 5 minutes absolutely topped the bedroom scene from Terrifier 2, which genuinely has me excited. You then have Smile 2, releasing October 18th. I was a big fan of the first one, didn't really care for the ending, but I think this one could be great because of the fact that it's based on a musical icon who's on tour when all of a sudden this smile curse starts coming around everywhere, and she's more or less spreading it to her fans. I think that the premise is really cool. I just hope they do it right. Up next is The Platform 2. If you haven't seen the first Platform, you're definitely missing out. It's more or less about a prison system that moves. Some people start at the top, others start at the bottom, others in the middle. Every single day it changes. And depending on what level you're on, depends on when you eat. If you're all the way at the top, of course you get first dibs. But if you're at the bottom, there's probably going to be no food left for you. People go from platform to platform, people get unalived all the time, and I think number 2 might even be able to top number 1. And finally, you have Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, from the same creators that made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. And this movie's based on the dark theory behind Peter Pan, where he is not the good guy. He's more or less unaliving these people before they become adults to keep them kids forever. And supposedly, Captain Hook is supposed to be the main antagonist, or he's the good guy, which is supposed to be the original story of Peter Pan, at least based on that dark theory. Comment down below what movies you guys are excited for this month and follow for more.
The most anticipated one that I'm personally excited for is Smile 2. I love the Smile movie. The first one was amazing, man. Terrifier is pretty good too. I want to watch that one. And I watched the Winnie the Pooh thing. I didn't really like that one. I'm not gonna lie.
This is one of the most haunted places in the United Kingdom, Pendle Hill. In the 1600s, a group of women who were living in this area were accused of being witches. And after an extremely unfair trial and being held in a dungeon for months, they were executed. The story of the Pendle witches is infamous, and it actually predates the Salem witch trials. But Pendle Hill is like a paranormal magnet of its own. People have seen everything out here, from demon dogs to shapeshifters, and even aliens and UFOs in the sky. It's rumored that Pendle Hill is one of the most dangerous places to visit after dark due to the high levels of paranormal activity. One specific story from the area that's pretty creepy is that of a headless ghost. Yes, the spirit of a headless woman is seen walking one of these roads at night, and the story goes that she was a local nanny, and multiple children in her care died. So the locals took it upon themselves to take care of the problem and chopped her head off. The story of the Pendle witches is infamous worldwide, and their presence can still be felt today. The full video of our investigation is on my channel now.
Top 5 of the scariest videos I found online. I bet you can't make it to the end of the video. The last one is scary. Number 5. 3 friends were playing guitar and singing in their room. You know, just having a good time. When something scary appears in the balcony door window. You could see a white figure appear quickly and disappear once the camera pans back. Spicy. Hey, maybe you just like the music. Wanted to do a little dance. Get a little boogie. Get it? Boogie, boo. Please don't unfollow me. Before we get to the next one, can you hit that like button for me? If you get 100,000 hearts, I'll do a part 3. Number 4. A man wakes up to hearing strange noises in his house. When he goes to turn on the lights to see what it is, they seem to not be working. Watch what he sees next. Tired of these ghosts messing with electricity when they do not pay bills. Do you know how much an electric bill is right now? Pay up or get out. Okay, check this out. You're alone in the middle of the night and you're in a hotel when this happens. What's your next move? Let me know down below. Number 3. On the 30th of April, 2022 at 2 a.m., a security camera captured this. Some believe it's a creature dragging a bag, while others believe it's someone walking backwards. A short while after, the security camera catches this. It's the same figure. What do you think this creature is? Number 2. The little girl is in the kitchen alone, and it looks like she's talking to someone. The home security camera captures this. So now they're not paying bills and trying to take our food? This is the last straw. Hello, Ghostbusters. A woman and her child is seeing something in the window, but every time she goes to open it, nothing appears to be there. Watch what happens next. Yeah, it got in the house, and they didn't even realize. Should I do a part 3?
Okay, things are starting to look real creepy in Florida. We're seeing eerie videos of black SUVs driving around neighborhoods with megaphones urging people to leave immediately. We're seeing traffic cam footage of the roads out of Tampa Bay just stacked, while the way in almost empty. We're seeing huge rows of cars lining up to buy sandbags. We've got the Tampa mayor just absolutely not mincing her words.
And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Wow.
And when you have meteorologists being brought to tears, you know it is time to pack up and get out.
It's an incredible, incredible, incredible hurricane. It has dropped 50 millibars in 10 hours. I apologize. This is just horrific.
And now Hurricane Milton has become the 5th most intense Atlantic hurricane on record, with winds of 180 miles per hour. Stay safe, guys, and I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, it's literally like what I was talking about in the other clip I saw with this dude in it. I was saying that Category 5 can get up between like 160 to 200 miles per hour. Man. If you know, it's crazy when you see a meteorologist crying and the mayor saying if you stay you will die. So if you're in Florida, please evacuate, get somewhere safe. Even if you got to rent out a hotel for a little bit, you know, call off of work, obviously. If you are in Florida right now and you're in the hurricane zone, comment down below and let me know your updates. Let me know if you guys are safe. Let me know you guys' plans. I'll check it out. I'll read it. Love y'all, boys. Please stay safe.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe.